McLemore, and he is one of the BLM folks. He works under the Abandoned Mine Project, and so he's kind of a supervisor over that program. Am I right? Okay, and plus a lot of other really awesome things. He's also an acclaimed geologist, so he really knows his stuff about the dirt you walk on. So hopefully we'll all get something good out of this tonight and get a little more educated about some of the things that we have to do, or information about the mining claims and how they all come about. So, presentation tonight is mining claims and the mining laws. So, without ado, I will hand the mic over to him and let him do his thing, and we'll probably go to like about 8, somewhere around there, quarter to, whatever you finish up on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try not to talk too fast.
No, just do whatever is needed, man. Do whatever is needed.
Good evening, everybody. I'll try not to yell on the mic. I'm grateful to be here, and hopefully I have some information that you'll find useful. If not, I apologize. But hopefully there's something you all will take away from this. As Phil mentioned, I'm the mining law, abandoned mine law, I can't talk. Abandoned Mine Lands Program Lead for the Utah State BLM. I'm stationed out of Richfield, so I'll probably pace a lot. It's because I've been in the car for a couple hours. So a little bit about myself. My name is Devin McLemore. I graduated in 2015 from Southern Utah University with a bachelor's in geology. I took a year off and tried different avenues and decided that I needed to go back to school, and went to the University of Northern Colorado, where I graduated with a professional science master's degree in geosciences. While I was in Colorado, I did a Geologic Society of America internship with the Bureau of Land Management in Canyon City, where I got a lot of experience, and ultimately that led to me getting my position for the BLM in Richfield. So I started with the BLM in 17 and started in the Henry Mountain Field Station out of Hanksville, and then eventually moved up to the Richfield Field Office out of Richfield. And have been there since, and started in this position in July. So, and I have to apologize. There's going to be a handful of slides, and then halfway we'll go through the MLRS system. But so first off, what's a mining claim? Without reading the text, who can tell me what a mining claim is?
I can.
Okay.
Parcel of land
without reading.
I should have hid the text. I should have made it more exciting, but.
So a mining claim basically is just a claim that you're stating to the government and everybody else that you have the right to mine it and to look for minerals, and nobody else does without your permission. Correct?
In short, that's a pretty good answer. The next, can you build a house on it?
Without reading.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Can you guys build houses on them? Cabins?
No.
On a patented.
You cannot on a claim, but you can if you own the land.
Yes, on a patented claim, sure. Okay, what's the difference? So a patented mining claim, the surface rights have been handed over to the individual. So unfortunately, well, I won't say unfortunately, but the BLM put a moratorium on patented claims, and we no longer do patented mining claims for now. I know, but yes. So, okay, the pretty good definition, but a lot of the text comes from the regulations. I figured they're a good way to learn, and that way it's from the horse's mouth instead of me trying to make something up. So, a mining claim is a parcel of land for which the claimant has asserted a right of possession and the right to develop and extract a discovered valuable mineral deposit. This right does not include exclusive surface rights. That's something that people tend to get held or hung up on. Again, when you file a mining claim, you get the mineral rights, not the surface rights. So people can still have access to your claim. They can't remove or extract the minerals. And why? And that's the mining law of 1872 opened the public lands of the United States to mineral acquisition by location and maintenance of mining claims. Mineral deposits subject to acquisitions in this manner are generally referred to as locatable minerals. There are three basic types of minerals on federally administered lands: locatable, leasable, and saleable. Mining claims are staked for locatable minerals on public domain lands. Okay, next question I'm going to ask you. Who knows the definition of a locatable mineral? Yeah.
Real quick, so you can't build anything unless it's on a patented claim, which you can no longer get. Can you buy a patented claim from somebody that owns one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
The second question, so any structure that's on there has to be portable? Or, so let's say I'm on there and I want to build a gold room because I found that has to be where I can take it away, correct? Like a trailer or something?
We'll get to that a little later.
Okay.
Yep, we'll get to that. Great questions, but we'll get to that. So,
What was your question again?
locatable minerals. Who knows what the BLM or the 1872 mining law calls locatable minerals?
Ones that have value.
Ones that have value, okay. Anything else?
Say that again.
Locatable minerals. Does anybody know what the 1872 mining law defines as locatable minerals?
Surface outcroppings?
Not quite. Okay.
You have to have proof that you found, at least in California, when I was there, you had to actually come in and show that you have found minerals and the location of it, so that they, if they need to, can come and, prove that you're right, basically.
Okay, that's good answer, but not quite. So we'll go on to the next slide. So a locatable mineral. So a locatable mineral, by definition of the 1872 mining law, is a mineral that includes both metallic minerals and non-metallic minerals, such as fluorspar, asbestos, mica, and other industrial minerals, or gold. Metallic minerals such as like gold, silver, copper, minerals with value that aren't your common like your sand gravel. So these are all gemstones that I had the chance to go to the Denver Gem and Mineral Show and took pictures of some really cool specimens. So that's the definition of a locatable mineral. So types of mining claims. And again, I apologize for the amount of wording, but like I said, the regulations say it better than I can. So there's a couple different types of mining claims. There's placer and there's lode claims. Now, again, without reading, who could tell me the difference between a placer and a lode claim?
Placer is alluvial deposit or eluvial deposit. Lode claim is a vein, hard rock.
That's pretty good.
In the mountain.
Pretty spot on answer. That's a pretty good answer. So what the regulations say is, so placer claims are defined as including all forms of deposit excepting veins of quartz or other rock in place. In other words, every deposit not located within a lode claim should be appropriated by a placer claim. So again, a lot of alluviums and stuff like that. So the maximum acres for a placer claim is 20 acres per person. You can file associated placer claims, or you could get a group of people and file, and you get 20 acres per person. But there is a cap. You can only file up to 160 acres for a placer claim. So that means 8 of you could file a placer claim and have potentially 160 acres claimed. A lode claim, they're a little different. They're subject to the lode. So what's in vein? And those are described or limited to size, which is 1,500 feet by 600 feet or 300 feet off center. So depending on what deposit you have or what you're chasing, you'd either file a placer claim or lode claim or both. You could file both. Oftentimes we see a lot of confusion. People will file just a lode claim, but they won't file the placer claim on top. So it gets a little convoluted at then. It's easier for us if people just file the placer and the lode, but it's not uncommon to see a claimant with the placer claims on top of a load claim. At that point, we would deal with that when somebody comes in with operations.
And different people file on the same property, different types of claims.
Yes, yeah, yep. So it's, again, it's not uncommon that we see somebody file a placer claim over a load claim or vice versa, you know. But again, it gets a little complex at that time, but it does happen and can happen. So. Okay, and again, apologize for the text, but this, so you find a spot that you want to claim, you have a resource, you have something there. How do you go about locating and recording a mining claim? So by raise of hand, who here has gone through this process? A couple of you. What did you do? What was your steps, or what did you have to do to file your claim?
Corner markers.
Corner markers?
File with the county.
File with the, okay?
You have to physically stake it.
Yeah. Yep.
So is the claim BLM good? Is this same thing in Idaho, Nevada?
It should, and within BLM. Yep. This is from the BLM regulations, or from the mining law, the 1872 mining law, which is our regulations. So.
We got maybe a helpful item for you, something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. These are perfect. So a lot of the times what we run into is people file a mining claim and then there's no evidence on the ground. And then they come to us saying, hey, somebody's on our claim, and it's like, well, sorry, we can't do anything because at that point it's a civil matter. But a lot of the times we don't see the claim markers. We don't see the discovery post.
Is it wrong to put those on before you actually file?
So no, and actually right here it says, let's see, number 2, so stake and monument the corners of mining claims or sites which meet applicable state monumenting requirements and the size limitations described in, and I apologize for that text, but the 43 CFR 38, 3222. So post a notice of location in a conspicuous place on the claim site or site. The notice must include the name of the locators, the date of the location, a description of the claim site, the name or number of the claim site, or both the claim or site has both, and then you record the notice of certificate within the appropriate BLM state office. So you have to have a few things, and it's good if you were to stake those and then file. Now there's some more, again, I didn't take all the regulations out or put them in here because that would be a lot of slides and a lot of text that I don't want to read necessarily, but there is a limitation. So if you don't file, if you stake a claim within, and don't file or go to the office within 90 days, that claim's void. It doesn't matter. Somebody could come back in and redo the same process, and they would have the claim and not you. So the biggest thing is it's important to follow the process. Pay attention to the process and follow the regulations. And absolutely, please, corner markers are your friend. Corner markers are our friend. I shouldn't say we don't have sympathy, but it's hard to feel sorry when the claim's not filed appropriately or to the regulations. So a corner marker, so every corner in your claim. So for example, let's say you're doing a 20-acre placer claim. So you have a square or a rectangle. So every corner should have a marker, a 4x4 post. We no longer, like any PVC pipe, if they have a cap on them.
Can I break in real quick? Bo, would you hold those back up? We have these as a club. We actually have the patent on these, and you can purchase them here through Bo every month, or if you need them really quick, just reach out through the website.
See, and this is
And
the
Bo
corner
can help you.
markers he's talking about right here. You just put them on whatever, a tree, right?
Yeah,
post
tree.
in the ground, whatever you need. These you would file and put in a conspicuous spot, right? Yeah. And these are your corner markers right there. So the club's made it pretty easy for y'all.
Also, everybody, take a good close look at those because those are on every one of the club claims.
Yep.
So you want to look for them If they're in bad shape, anything like that, please let us know. Take a picture, send it into the website, show one of us, so that we can get new, fresh ones out there. But to know that you're on the right claim, because sometimes it's a little hard when you're out there, you don't have any phone reception. Look for those. Bo and Carl have been very careful. I think Dustin, haven't you been working on it too? Of making sure that people do take them down. So if you're not seeing them when you get to one of our claims, let us know. I apologize.
No, thank you. And I apologize if I would have been thinking I would have had some pictures of showing claim markers in my slideshow, my presentation, but I didn't think far enough ahead, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, the process is important, again.
But, kind of posted on the website and about this lecture tonight. There is a statute under the state Utah law about mining claims, about going on other claims and removing minerals, like Devin was saying. And also, what happens a lot, like we were talking about, people like carrying mining claims on down. That is also a federal thing. So anything that you do that you're not supposed to be doing on the federal mining claim, you get in a lot of trouble.
And one thing, they're private property. That's the other thing to remember. Like when somebody takes it, it's their private property. So the 43 CFR 3832.11 and 43 CFR 3832.12 are the regulations for staking and recording a mining claim. Again, there's a lot of good information in there, and this is just a small excerpt from those, kind of highlighting the big points. But if you're ever questioning, hey, I want to record a mining claim, what do I do? Those will be your best friend. And they'll explain our regulations, again, the regulations for staking and recording a claim. And they provide greater detail than I will tonight.
How long and how long is a mining claim valid for? I've been to a spot where I had a mining claim on it, but the sign was like 20 years old. And I didn't know if it was still valid or not.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it actually is a great question, and hopefully what I think it's the next slide. But so they're good for 1 year. So once you go through the process, you pay your fees, they're good for 1 year. However, there's a maintenance fee associated with it every year. As long as people continue to pay those maintenance fees, then those mining claims are still good. They're still active. And so oftentimes it's like you'll see there's a handful of claims that in the Richfield Field Office where I work that they've been around for, since the 70s. And they're still active because the companies are continuing to pay the maintenance fees on those claims. So.
One more question. Can you work on your claim before you file in that 90 days?
We'll hopefully get to that.
Okay.
So, good question.
I have a question that goes with his question. These saw markers that were 20 years old. Is there somewhere on the web that we can go to see if they're paid up and they're valid claims or not?
Yes, and we're going to get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that. So great questions. It's actually leading in perfect. Okay, so just a little more about mining claims, and then we'll get to some of your questions and show you guys a cool resource. So again, this is just the requirements of filing a mining claim. And so the 43 CFR 3833 is the regulations on the recording process. So again, if you ever question that, the CFRs can be a good resource and a great resource to call upon. So FLPMA, which stands for the Federal Land Policy Management Act, requires you to record all mining claims and sites with the BLM and the local recording office. That's again something that's important. It's not just with us, you also have to file it with the county. And then in order to maintain a mining claim or site under the general mining law. So again, something that I think people kind of get held up on is they'll call the local field offices to file a mining claim. We can't help you there. You have to call the appropriate state office. So if you're filing in Utah, you'd call the Utah State, the public room to file a mining claim. If you're filing in Idaho, you'd call the Idaho State Office. Nevada, California, you'd call the appropriate state office to file a claim in. And then, yep, and various state have different rules or regulations as well on how to file. So it's good to check with your state as well. So in fact,
Can I ask one more? And I apologize, I'm asking a lot of questions.
that's perfect.
I'm also getting asked a few. So, you have to have markers for both state and federal on each claim? Or you just have to have a marker?
As far as I know, just a marker, but it depends on, and in fact, this might, so I'll read the second paragraph and hopefully that'll answer that question. So you must record in the proper BLM state office a copy of the notice of certificate of location that your recorder will record in the local recording office by the 90th day, again, 90 days after you mark your claim, after the date of location. If there's no recording requirement under state law, so again, check with your state or the state that you're filing in, because they may have requirements as to what location marker is, how it should be put, where it should be placed. Then you still have to do the proper things and then document it with the BLM and local recording office. Great question. No, and unfortunately, I guess I'd reach out to the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining and ask them.
See what they say.
Yeah. So
I've never seen in Idaho, Arizona, California, and Utah, I've never seen state required corner markers. That style corner marker in those particular states I mentioned suffice to meet both state and federal law.
yeah, so
Good job, Jeff.
yeah, thank you. So it's a good idea again to check both your state agent or requirements as well, and then again the policy. Make sure you're complying with both agencies. I'd hate to have people go through the work and then not have it be valid because of a simple hiccup, Okay, all right. So how do you locate recorded mining claim continued? Again, I apologize for the text, but how many of you?
Yeah, quick question for you. If you buy an existing claim from somebody else, do you have to change the corner markers and put your name on them?
I would.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I would. So, especially if you're buying it, you'd want to go through the process, or I recommend making sure that it's known that it's yours. And there's a few other steps within that process, but so. How many of you have heard of this new the BLM MLRS system or page?
Yeah.
How many of you spend any time on there? A lot? Perfect. You're probably better at it than I am. So one thing I wanted to show you is I wanted to go through this process, and it'll answer a lot of your questions. It's a fairly neat system. It's not perfect. I have to say this now. It's not perfect. We're working on it. But it provides a lot of good information. And so I thought it'd be useful to kind of go through a live tutorial and demonstration of what the BLM or the MLRS system has to offer. One aspect, and it's kind of nice, is you can file for a new mining claim online. So you no longer have to do the old-fashioned way with the paperwork. You still can. You can still submit a filing through the mail. But this new MLRS system is supposed to make it so everything's now online.
Just to add something, I have spent some time on that, and it's great. As a matter of fact, what I do, if I'm going somewhere, whether it be prospecting or rock hounding, whatever I'm doing, I can get on that site, look up the map right there, click on the layers, and it can tell me right now if there's a valid claim going on, whether it be placer or load, or an invalid claim, which means it's open for gain. That's what I've noticed on it.
Awesome. That answers our question.
Does that site give GPS coordinates?
Yeah, let's look at it. Let me pull it up. No, this is perfect. This gets me excited because it means that people are using the system. So, okay, and feel free. I'll kind of show you. Oh, I have
You're
to.
allowed to use GPS locations for your corners?
Yes, and let me. Sorry, I didn't get this far ahead when I set up my computer. So let me hook up to my hotspot real quick and we'll get this pulled up. Sorry, I apologize. I should have been more prepared with this.
You're fine. You're fantastic.
You're fired.
You don't get fired. Just say it.
Before it gets too hostile, let me leave. All right, where's my... Okay, let me see if we can make this work. Okay, we're back in business. So no, we are not back in business. Sorry. Backspace? All power, okay. Oh, that's not going to work for me. Oh. Okay, here we go. Sorry, so I'm going to figure out why that disappeared. Okay. All right, so hopefully I can do this and make it work. So this is the website. When you go to the BLM MLRS page, this is what pulls up. This is the home screen. And as you can see up on the top, you have the home, you have research, you have the help center. What he referred to with the map is you research our map in real time. So when you get on this page, if you want to look for a mining claim or areas that are claimed, you can click the Get Started. And this is and it'll take a minute, so just be patient. But this is what it pulls up. So you see, you've got the map of the United States. So say we're interested in looking at a mining claim. Say we're out west towards, we'll go out towards Tooele. So right here, these are all your township and range, your section township and range. So it's, and as you zoom in closer, it'll give you where you're at, where you're located. And right now, what's cool is down in the bottom right corner, you can click on this and you have layers. So for mining claims, we have to zoom in. You have to zoom in so far and then the mining claims will populate. If you hit this drop down arrow, it'll give you, so we say we want to look at active mining claims. And so again, it says must be zoomed in to see. So we'll go ahead and zoom in a little closer. And right there, that is showing that there's a mining claim in that section. So it doesn't give you the exact filing or location, but you know it's general. So if you're out in that area, you know there's a mining claim within that area. So say we want to look it up and see what this claim is, who owns it, and the claim name. So what's important is you hit the info button, and it'll pull up the arrow with the question mark. So here we can click on this, and then right there. So it'll give you the land survey, all that information, and then you can click on, see if there's any patents, any surveys, and it'll take you to the land status page. And then, so here it shows that there's 1 of 8 records within that block that we clicked on. So we can arrow over. So again, just more of the land survey stuff. And then, here we go. So there's your mining claim. So it's the soldier number 6. There's the serial number. It's filed. It's a load claim. It's 20.66 acres.
Wow.
So obviously there's some error with that one, but then we can go and it'll tell you, okay, so now we're in the Salt Lake field office. So if we have questions, we know what office to contact. So let's go.
So are those the GPS right there on the bottom right?
Yes, yeah, yep, that's the coordinates. Yep. So
We can find out basically what, that square you're at, what the GPS coordinates would be.
yep.
Well, one thing I want to point out, if it's okay,
Yeah.
is when you're on that square is more like 160 acres, and only 20 of that was claimed on that load claim. So what comes a little cumbersome is that somewhere in that 160 acres, there's a 20-acre claim, but you don't always know exactly where it is by this. That's my one big complaint about
Well,
that
that's what
LRS
he was
system.
just saying, when you hit the info, see how that lit up?
Yeah, but if you
But
gotta do
then
that.
it's still 160.
Yeah, so, and that, again, this is not a perfect system.
There used to be, but if you're logged in, you can't see it if you're not logged in and authenticated.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you set up an ID.me account with .gov and you log in, then when you go into that information, you can see detailed records, and sometimes you see the actual filing paperwork, which gives you the section, the direction, and the actual coordinates. So if you really want to research a section deeply, you have to be logged in to see it, but when you click that info button, you can drill really deep by, you just grab that record number, you do a research on that record number, and then you can dive really deep into their paperwork.
So, and we'll go into that shortly after and kind of show, I guess, the process. So thank you. I didn't know that. See, we don't, we have a different, I guess, avenue in here, and we don't see that on our side. We get the information, but we don't know. So it's hard for me to say, hey, this is what's available to the public, because we don't see exactly what's available. But
You have to have an ID.me account.
so, and you can do that on this website. You can sign up and register on the MLRS website. So what's really cool too is, so we have, they're different layers. So we could go hybrid, and it'll show you kind of what it looks like on the ground. And so if you're interested, and there's your key or your legend. So placer claims and load claims, and then tunnel sites and mill sites. So if you're interested and want to see an area that's closed, so you can come in, or where there may be closed mining claims, you can come in and click that. And then all the blue squares are closed mining claims, or claims that are no longer active. So, and there may be a reason that they're closed. You'll still have to do a little research on your part to kind of figure that out. But again, it's a great resource that gives you some information. It may not be perfect, but it's there and available. So now, say you found a spot, you want to file a mining claim. If I can figure out, so we'll go back to the home. So say you don't know what to do. Say this is your first time on the site, this help center. This is going to be your best friend. Or say in the search bar. So file, I'll show you real quick. So just type in, again, so file a mining claim and hit your search. And so what pulls up is it's going to pull up everything related to that search. And so the first article you see is, how do I file a mining claim? So if you click on it, and then it gives you a step-by-step guide on how to file a new mining claim within the MLRS system. So again, I've not done it, so I can't tell you necessarily how it works, but
How much does it cost to file a claim?
ooh, the fees just increased.
Was 165.
I would have to get back to you. I can't remember. Two, is it?
Give or take.
Will you get to tell about how you document that you've done whatever work you need to do to have your mining claim be active?
So, from what I understand, again, within this, they'll have all those that you're able to upload. You'll still have to upload your paperwork and your documentation within this website. Again, I apologize. I don't know if that answers your question.
So to go back, I think someone asked how much is it per mining?
Yeah, yep.
So it used to be 160 this year, it increased to $200 per 20 acres.
Okay. So I know they just increased it, but.
His question was more about what maintenance and things you have to do to the mine.
Oh, okay. So there is, and again, well, we can ask the MLRS. Just and now I'm more curious to see if they have this on there or not. But see if I can do this backwards. And I have to spell. And that's not right, but let's see if that'll. Okay, so here you are. So how will you pay your annual maintenance fee? How to pay your maintenance fee on behalf of clients. There are ways that you can document and do work and show that. You have to file an affidavit, I believe, to prove that you've done the maintenance work instead of or in lieu of your maintenance fee.
On that note, we do have in the book a page that you can print out and copy that has, when you go to a claim, if you look back, your Dustin has it. If you go to a claim, we ask that you fill that out every time and you do some type of maintenance. It might be cleaning out the garbage. It might be,
And I keep these back at my table,
but every time you go to one of our club claims, we do ask you to fill one out and bring it back so that we can prove we've had maintenance on each of the claims, as well as when you have your own, you can do the same type of affidavit. Makes it very simple. Sorry. Go ahead, Dustin.
Hey, they used to be called assessment on your claim.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the same thing?
Yes, yep.
I remember,
We have a young lady back here that'd like to say something.
Devin, the processing fee is $25, the location fee is $49, and then the maintenance fee is $200.
Oh.
And that's for 420. And then, so the total fee for a claim is $274. And then for a placer claim, it is a processing fee of $25, location fee $49, and a maintenance fee of $200 for each 20 acres or portion thereof.
Okay, I have a question, Devin. With her saying 200 for the maintenance fee, if we did enough affidavits, would that wipe that out? How many would we need to do to wipe that out, $200?
It should.
Really quick, I believe before you can just use affidavits in lieu of a fee, you have to be approved by the BLM first to have what's called a small mining waiver. If you don't have a small mining waiver on place for your claim, then they won't accept affidavits in lieu of anything. But then you just need to do $200 worth of maintenance. So if you're improving roads, if you're cleaning up fences, if you're picking up garbage, you just need to prove approximately $200 worth of labor, and actually can be used in lieu of. So your assessments just need to equate to approximately $200 worth of labor. But if you don't have a small mining waiver in place on your claim before renewal time comes, they won't accept it anyway. You just have to pay it.
Devin, if somebody needed to know that about a personal or private claim, can they ask you? That's in the class.
I would love to figure that out. I was hoping to ask that of him tonight. Okay. It doesn't sound like we have that.
We have the wrong Devin teaching the class tonight, so I apologize. So, no, these are great questions, and I apologize if I don't have all the answers. So it's giving me some research to do. So, Terry.
Yeah, just one thing to add to what you're saying is if you're doing an assessment one-to-one,
obviously, when you look at a property and it shows an active mining claim, then you can't claim that, but where can you file a claim? Assuming that there's not an active mining, you check that out, but what land can you file a mining claim on?
So that's actually a really good question. And unfortunately, well, it's a little more complicated in a sense that you have to check and see it's open to mineral entry based on what the 1872 mining law says. So if you have questions on that, I'd reach out to your local field office and they can check. Because if there's been any segregations or withdrawals or any special statuses applied to the land, you may not be able to file a mining claim within those. For example, you can't file mining claims within a national park.
What about a national forest?
Yeah, you can file a national forest. But again, it's the same thing. I would check with the office just to make sure that the land is open and available to mining or mineral entry.
What about federal wilderness area? Probably not.
It depends. And again, that gets a little more convoluted and complex, but it all depends on how it was withdrawn or segregated when the Wilderness Act was in place. So typically they don't. They withdraw it all from mineral entry. So nothing says you can't file a claim there, but you're going to have a hard time being able to really do anything. Again, it all depends on the date. But does that answer your question? Sorry, it's probably not a good answer, but that's a great answer or a great question. I just don't have a good answer for it.
Anyway, I was wondering, okay, on those banks, can you plant trees as maintenance?
Okay, say that again. Sorry.
Plant trees on the claim as a maintenance?
Oh, I don't know. We don't have a definition for maintenance.
That would be a good thing.
So.
You have to be very careful because you'd only want to do what was traditionally there and not add new trees. You know, new species. It's a great question.
One thing though, remember maintenance is for the line of claim.
Yeah.
And maintenance means developing the minerals, not reclaiming it.
I would figure that you could contact and know that probably not there, no like if they,
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but remember that we've got to do the assessment work on the ground. And, if it was stabilization, I guess, or reclamation from your plan of operations and your notice, that's fine, but you're always going to have to show at least the $200 worth.
Are they asking you a question? We can't hear them.
Oh, I think it's a reply to the question that was in.
Oh, okay.
I just want to re-emphasize that importance of checking with your local offices because there's a lot of stuff going on out there. And there's a lot of people, especially the environmentalists now, that are locking up a lot of the BLM property. And there's things like, there was a situation in the film industry where they were able to stop trucks driving across the road, and it was just a corner of the BLM property, but it destroyed the entire Johnson Canyon film sets because we could never get up there. So you want to really do what he says there, and that is double check, because there are areas now where these people are going in and claiming 160 acres, and they're locking it off. You can't even deer hunt there. You can't even cross it over. So, yeah, what he's saying is.
Are they blocking it off for a claim and they're making it so that people can?
What they're doing is they're stating that it is for conservation services, so you won't be running cattle, no grazing rights, no mineral rights, nothing. And they want it locked up, and when you watch what some of these guys are doing, they're grabbing some pretty good sized property.
I guess my biggest thing or takeaway for now is make sure you follow the policy. Do it to the letter of the regulations and the law. If you do it, it may take a little more work in the initial setup, but it's going to save you a lot of headache in the long run. So, but anyways, MLRS, go check it out. Again, it's not a perfect system, but it has a lot of information, and it's there available to you to make it, hopefully make it, simplify the filing process for a mining claim. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference between MLRS and LR 2000?
MLRS replaced LR 2000.
Thank you.
So LR 2000 was the old system. MLRS is the new system. So good question. So congratulations, you recorded a claim. So now what? The good question, right? What can you do? So the purpose, sorry, I've got to get my notes up so I know what I'm saying here. Okay, so the purpose of the 43 CFR 3809 regulations is or are to prevent any undue or unnecessary degradation. And again, without reading the full text, the whole point when you file a mining claim, you can't just go out and start bulldozing, digging. There is a process. And a lot of the rules and regulations are, again, imposed by the 1872 mining law. And if you want to see what those are, it's 43 CFR 3809, which is the surface management regulations. If it's going to go forward for me. So how do we at the BLM classify operations? Does anybody know how we classify operations?
Maybe.
Okay, let's.
So there's your basic hand equipment, and then there's a small mining operation, and then there's a commercial mining operation.
Pretty good. Do you know what they're called? By chance? I mean, that was a good answer. That's a great answer, but.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, we'll go with it. So I guess any other takers? Any other guesses?
Yeah, exploration, yeah, was.
Oh, okay. I'll hurry, Phil. So we classify, casual use, typically hand tools, minimal surface disturbance. A notice, small mining or exploration, and then a plan of operations. So, sorry.
Something like this, what would that be classified as?
Well, it depends. By the regulations, it would probably fall under a notice because it's mechanized. But casual use. So I wanted to define casual use and then a notice and a plan. So again, this is from the regulations. This is what we, when we look at an operation with the BLM, this is what we look at for casual use. A lot of folks do casual use, and again, it can progress to higher levels of disturbance. It just depends on one, the intent and what you're doing. But this, I took this right from the regulations because I felt like it was important for this definition. So casual use is explained or described as activities ordinarily resulting in or negligible surface disturbance. It generally includes a collection of samples, mineral specimens, using hand tools, hand panning or non-motorized sluicing. And this is something that I guess I hadn't really paid attention enough, but it may include the use of small and portable suction dredges, includes the use of metal detectors, gold spears, and other battery-operated devices. The one that I didn't know until I put this together, and again, I just didn't pay attention or haven't paid close enough attention to it, but it does allow for hand and battery-operated dry washers. Again, if you have questions, reach out to your local field office for clarification or answers.
Do you require bonds on mining? So if they take out bankruptcy, that leaves it nothing. So how do you handle that?
So, yes, that's a great question. So I'll get to it in just a second.
Okay.
Probably a little quicker so we finish on time. But again, casual use continued. It does not include the use of mechanized equipment. So again, that's in the regulations. So
That's heavy equipment though, isn't it?
Mechanized equipment. Doesn't answer your question. So a notice, this might help. So a notice, the question was earlier, do we require a bond? For any notice operations, level operations, or plan of operations, we do require a bond. And the bond is in place so that in the event somebody goes bankrupt or leaves the operation, we have the funds to be able to reclaim the site as best as possible. And so we work with Dogum very closely and kind of calculating these bonds. And so they go hand in hand. It's not like you have to pay BLM a bond, you have to pay Dogum a bond. You'll pay one or the other, and then we work between the agencies to make sure everybody's squared away. But typically when we see notices or people filing notices, they're disturbing more, or we determine that it's greater than casual use, and or they're looking for exploration. So any drill holes, trenching, bigger operations, they would file a notice. The caveat with the notice is it can only be 5 acres or less, and if they're removing material, they can't remove more than 1,000 tons. As far as, I guess, sampling is concerned. The biggest thing is, again, it's the intent. If the intent is commercial use, then you're going to have to file a plan of operations, regardless if it's 1 acre or 50 acres. The intent to sell or commercial use would automatically bump it up into what we would call a plan of operations.
How much is the bond?
All depends on the operation.
Really?
Yeah, so it could be $1,500, it could be $100,000.
Yep.
Depends on the size and what the land looks like.
Okay, you notice, 5 acres.
All depends on the operation. I don't have a good answer. Yeah. So.
What's your service? So that's part of your plan of operations, and then they determine your bond.
But you got to notice to get a bond in place to be able to drill and find out how deep you got to go to get it.
Right.
So how does that?
So typically when somebody files a notice within an office, we review it. So there are regulations that we look at when a notice is filed. If you're interested in it's a 43 CFR 3809.300. And it kind of tells what we look at when we receive a notice. So, and again.
Basically, each individual one is different.
Yeah. So we've seen notices. So when I was working in Colorado, we saw bonds from, $500 to $80,000, $100,000.
So really quick, typically to find out whether you've got to go down 10 feet or 40 feet is when you get an exploration permit, and you'd use that smaller bond, which is normally in that $1,500 range, and you dig down, but you can only disturb up to 5 acres. But then you know what your overburden is. Exactly. You know what your overburden is now. You have to extract it. You put in your plan of operation to open up your larger commercial zone.
Yep. And again, I wish I had a good answer, but it's case by case.
There's not clear numbers on
Yep.
the sliding scale of this many, for this much money and so forth.
Yeah. And typically, a lot of us have been in it. We do have some fairly new geologists, but we can look at an operation and kind of have an idea. But again, until we get down into the weeds and actually calculate the equipment, what it would cost us. And it's the bonds are calculated on what it would cost a third party to reclaim. Not what it would cost the BLM to reclaim, but what it would cost a third party to reclaim.
Hire a contractor
Yep.
to come in and what they would charge it to fix
Yep.
their mess.
Yeah. 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 So, again, good question. So, a plan of operations, again, it's just if you want to go commercial or start developing it for commercial use, you file a plan of operations. You get a little more with a plan of operations, but it also requires more on what you guys submit. So it is a little more legwork, but at the same time, it would give you more depending on how you file. So real quick, just to hit on suction dredges, because I know somebody's going to ask or has a thought, what about suction dredges? So again, to quote the regulation, if your operation involves a suction dredge, you got to check with the state first. If the state requires, we kind of go with that, and it could be casual use, but it could be a notice. Okay, so
So on the note of suction dredges, that is why the state of Utah has got the gold dredging and sluicing permit. That covers your plan of operation for casual and recreational use only. So that's why that permit is in place for the state of Utah.
So, yeah, and I know Utah has one. Utah has something in place. So the question is, what if you're in a state that they don't have anything? Again, the short answer is go to your BLM office, or local office, and contact them and see if it would be covered. So I guess the takeaways real quick. If you have questions related to mining, please contact your local field office. You don't know what field office you're in, just wait. I'll show you a map on the next slide. It's only as good as you can see. Again, the MLRS system shows, if you go in and click on some of that, it'll show you what field office you're in. For mining claim questions, call the Utah State Public Room, and that's the phone number for any mining claim questions. Or again, refer to MLRS. There's a lot of good, helpful tutorials and how-tos on that website. Again, spend some time in MLRS. It could be your best friend or it could be your worst enemy depending on the day. But it does provide a lot of information. And then I've kind of sound like a broken record. It's better to follow the process and the policy up front than have to go back and do it retroactively. It's going to make your life easier. It makes our job easier too. And we like to have that relationship with you as claimants, you as miners, and follow the process. If you don't know what it is, again, call and ask, or look up the regulations. And then here's not the greatest colors for the screen, but there's the various field offices, BLM field offices within the state of Utah. So they're broken up by counties. The only unique one is Garfield County, and it's covered by both the Richfield Field Office and the Kanab Field Office, or Grand Staircase. So with that, are there any additional questions?
I have one that I've kind of waited to hear and I hadn't heard anything. As a club, we have access to our club claims. But what I want to know, and I want everybody else to understand, because, I tend to do things I'm not supposed to. What happens if we get caught on somebody else's claim?
At that point, it's a civil matter.
Okay.
So us, the federal, we don't get involved because those are your minerals. If you claimed them, you have the right to those minerals.
So then somebody can call
So,
the cops, or we can call the cops.
Yeah,
Now,
you count the contact.
What happens if we get caught prospecting somewhere where there's no claim? That's fine, isn't it?
Yeah. As long as if you're out there with a Skidster or a Mini X, you might have problems then.
I don't think any of us are.
But if
I don't. Other than that, I think we're.
So yeah, if you're within what we define as casual use and somebody catches you, it's not going to be an issue. They may ask what you're doing out of curiosity, but it shouldn't be an issue. So.
Thank you, Devin.
But,
So we should be able to look at that map, on the database and look at where we can go and what the club has access to.
yes, and I should have showed you that. So if you know the claim names, you can go in and on that map you could type in the claim names and it'll take you right to the spot. So that is one cool feature. Or the owner, yeah.
I don't know what the name is here, but Utah Gold Prospector Club or something.
Yeah.
Answer your question, so when you become a member, you get one of the claims guide, or you get a password to the website, and it brings up all the claim information, all the locations, and everything once you become a member. One of the best books you probably ever read.
But yeah, again, on that website, on the map, I should have showed you that feature. It's awesome. It actually works really well. And even street addresses. So when I was with the Richfield Field Office, we worked a lot down and around Tickaboo. And if we had a question for a mining claim, if we knew kind of a general area, we could type that into the search bar, hit enter, and it'd pull up all that, take us to that on the map. So.
Does this map tell what type of minerals have been found on the claim?
So you could do a little research and see what they filed the claim for. Like you could actually pull up the serial register page.
Like if you want to go look at ones that are no longer active and try to figure out what they have been doing there?
You should, that should show that under even the closed claim, you should have access to what they claimed or what was claimed.
You might want to check out mindat.org.
Yeah, MindDat is a good resource too, so. Cool.
How does the MRDS interface with this?
I don't know if it does yet, or if it does.
I know
So,
there's good information on there, but it's a lot of it's out of date.
yeah, I know if you call me and ask for any question, I'm going to refer you to the MLRS page over any other database for now, just because that is a BLM record. That's what we should keep up to date. It'd be nice if they interfaced, because the MRDS.
Is MRDS part of the BLM?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not sure. I'm not.
I know they have their same little symbol on it.
So, I'll have to look into that. That's a good question. So because I've used it before when with looking at mineral reports and stuff like that. But as far as the interfacing with MLRS, I don't know if it does or if there's any plan to have that happen.
So,
But
so it's not going to be able to cherry pick over to your site and bring information over to them.
no, unfortunately, not yet. So yeah.
Devin, I'm sorry, we are out of time.
No, I apologize.
No, you've been awesome, and we have
long-winded.
loved you. This has been fantastic.
So thank you.
Really fast.